How could a vagabond woman who lived in her van end up a co star to Frances McDormand in the blockbuster 2020 Academy Award winning hit Nomadland? And whose transitory existence provides valuable life lessons on surviving and thriving in today's world? So that's the opening line of the query letter I wrote to send a literary agent. Well, at least this was my editor wrote, and I slightly tweaked, but it's pretty good, right? My aunt and I have been working on her biography for about a year now, and we've made it through the first 30 years of her life so far. And I gotta say, it's pretty damn good. Even before my aunt was a nomad and starred in the Oscar winning movie, her life was captivating. She was born in 1944 in Indiana to a Christian Scientist mother who denied her any modern medical care. She suffered from chronic migraines throughout her life, but wasn't permitted painkillers as a child. Her father walked out on the family while she was an infant, leaving her with a deep longing for a parental bond that she never found. While in high school, her mother moved in with a boyfriend, and Charlene stayed behind in their family home, living alone for the duration of her senior year. After high school graduation, Charlene traveled alone by bus from Indiana to South Dakota to locate her father, not telling him she was coming until she was at the bus stop before her final stop, and she called him. When she met her father, she was also introduced to 5 half siblings who had no knowledge of her existence until that very moment, including my own father. After living in South Dakota for a few months, her stepmother chased her out, and Charlene moved back to Indiana to begin college. During that time, she fell in love, dropped out of school, married a CIA agent, moved to Iran, gave birth to her second son in a Tehran hospital, and while later living in Liberia, the couple experienced marital problems. So, Charlene returned to the United States alone, got a divorce, started a commune, worked as a nanny for an abusive man with post-traumatic stress disorder, became a summer camp counselor, and moved to Colorado for college. And that brings us to 1974, which is what we've written so far. She hasn't even become a nomad, and she certainly hasn't even starred in any movies yet. She's never heard of Frances McDormand or Chloe Zhao or Jessica Bruder or any of that. And the book's already interesting. So this process has been quite a bit different from when I wrote my first book, with the biggest difference being that I have a partner. My Aunt Swankie is acting as my research assistant, and she has spent most of her days when she's not on the road actively cataloging boxes of old journals, letters, and family records for salient life events, and then sending me relevant documents to form the narrative. She's kept just about everything, despite the fact that she lives in a van still and has not very much room. Despite being her nephew, though, Swankie and I never interacted until 2025. Until 2025 when we began working together. And because I didn't know her until we began this project, I still have a pretty objective perspective, but admittedly, I'm searching for a familial connection of my own. So we communicate every day, and our growing relationship has already made this project pretty worthwhile. The other difference is that I'm actually trying to find a publisher with this book. The world of writing books is in a really weird place. Amazon and other print-on-demand services have made it so you can ignore all those ivory tower New Yorkers who run the book world, and it's very popular for all of us indie authors to shit on those people because we're the artist and they're the suits. Well, after trying out the self-published route for my memoir, it turns out that I'm learning that there might be some perks to getting someone who actually knows what they're doing to help. So I'm trying to do that with my aunt's story. But here's the thing. Agents and publishers really only have one goal: to sell books. I mean, they would love to discover the next To Kill a Mockingbird. They're not bad people and they love writing, but they also have jobs. And jobs are supposed to pay you money. And to get money, people need to want to buy the books that they put out. Which means that even if they did find the next To Kill a Mockingbird, it doesn't help if no one wants to read it. And it's really, really hard to tell people, hey, trust me, you've never heard of this author, but he's like really great. Easily $25 for a new hardcover grade. Go ahead, just buy it. Trust me. So what that means is I have to try to convince these New York book people that the normal person, wants to read and, I'm sorry, pay for a book about my aunt. And the easiest way to do that is with everybody's favorite, statistics. So this means that if you want to help Swankie's story get the attention of these book people, there are some things you can do, and I'm sorry, it's going to sound very, very self-serving to me. Because they are. There's really no way around it. So here's my desperate cry for help, but it's all, in my mind, for the greater good of getting Swankie's story out there. So number one, Publishers want to know that an author has a track record of selling books, which means it would be really helpful if I actually sold some copies of my current book, called Loser, A Survival Guide to High School Popularity. It's up there. Picture that. I guess you can only see the bottom. The hardcover, paperback, and ebook are all available on Amazon, and the audiobook is available on Apple. I don't know how to get the audiobook on Amazon right now, even though I've written a lot of emails asking them to do it. All of these links are pretty easily found on my website, csbeaty.com, csbeaty.com. The magic number is 1,000 copies sold in the first year, and I'm a little over 300 after 6 months in, which means I got a lot of work to do. Number 2, if you don't want to pay for my book because you're not sure if it sucks, I don't blame you, because I don't buy books either from authors that I've never heard of. So what would be really awesome and free to you is if you request that your local library buys a copy. Hardcover, ebook, and audiobook are all available for library purchase. I look at my own public library app every day, and it makes me so happy when I see that my book is checked out. So it'd be great to have libraries from all over that are also buying copies of this book and, sharing it with the world. Number 3, another free option. After you read the book, or if you want to lie, I'm cool with lying, then put stars on things. Amazon, Goodreads, Apple Podcasts, your library app, anything. If you can click some stars for Loser, then I'll take them. Agents and publishers love seeing lots and lots and lots of stars on things. And number 4, subscribe to my weekly newsletter for updates on the progress on this book and some other fun stuff. If you like something, then like, comment, and do that sort of thing. You all know how that works, but lots of engagement and lots of subscribers also goes a long way from telling the story to publishers that we have people that really care about this project and want to support it when it comes out. So that's it. And if all this feels really silly, and I want to let you know I feel very silly talking about it, but frankly, this is the language the publishing industry speaks in today's environment when everything is done online. If funny books about awkward hormonal high schoolers aren't your thing, well, just do it knowing that you're helping Swankie's book down the road come out. And as a thank you, if anyone sends me an email with a mailing address to my email at alieneagle51@csbeaty.com, that's alieneagle51@csbeaty.com, I'll mail you a free book plate. If you read my book, then that email address will make way more sense. So that's it. That's the shameless request. I feel dirty even talking about it, but just to remind us all why I'm doing it, here's a portion of the query letter that I wrote that will eventually be sent to literary agents when the time is right. Hopefully after we bump up these statistics a little bit more. I really do think we have something special, and I think that you will too. So here we go. Charlene Swankie was an actress in the 2020 Academy Award-winning Best Picture Nomadland. The film was adapted from a nonfiction book written by journalist Jessica Bruder, who befriended my aunt. When Bruder met her, she had adopted the moniker Swankie in honor of the surname of her late husband. When the work was later adapted into a movie, screenwriter Chloe Zhao crafted a fictional storyline about a character named Fern, played by Academy Award-winning actress Frances McDormand. And my aunt was cast to play herself as McDormand's co-star in a film that later won 3 Academy Awards and 2 Golden Globes. Chloe Zhao, took Swankie to the Academy Awards ceremony as her +1 and thanked her by name in her Oscar acceptance speech. This story follows a rags-to-riches convention, but with an ironic ending. Despite her brush with fame, Swankie's life really hasn't changed much. She still lives in her van and keeps to herself, and she still has many of the same wounds as she did before. Despite being her nephew, I didn't grow up with a relationship with Swankie. I first heard of her the same way most people heard of her with the rest of the world, when she started appearing on lists of potential Oscar nominations. And I felt guilty about this, so I didn't reach out to her other than accepting a Facebook friend request that she had initiated. But when I released my own memoir, Swankie was one of the first people to congratulate me. She said she always wanted to write her own story, so in an attempt to reconcile with my own distance from my family, I asked her if I could write it with her, and she agreed. I was published in the Journal of Architectural Engineering, and I self-published a memoir in December 2025 titled Loser, A Survival Guide to High School Popularity. In the In the first 5 months of promoting, the memoir has sold over 300 copies and received positive reviews from Kirkus, Book Life, and Indie Reader. Kirkus Reviews gave the title a Get It designation. Between my aunt and I, we have a combined social media presence of over 4,000 followers. I believe we have a truly original and marketable concept. The movie Nomadland gripped the film community by providing a stunning glimpse into this neglected society and breaking many Hollywood conventions. But that story was just the beginning. It was a glimpse of the current state of these nomadic people, but it wasn't an in-depth look at how generations of abandonment can shape someone's story. This family trauma shaped Swankie, and as her nephew, I am now discovering how it also shaped me. The movie Nomadland has received renewed interest because of Chloe Zhao's recent success adapting and directing the film Hamnet, which is evidenced by an uptick in the Nomadland royalties my aunt has recently received. This book will not only appeal to fans of Nomadland Surviving America in the 21st Century by Jessica Bruder, but also The Blind Side by Michael Lewis, Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck, Into the Wild by John Krakauer, and We Will Be Jaguars by Namonte Nankimo and Mitch Anderson. These works exposed readers to stories that are familiar, yet often go untold. They showed us pictures of human resilience with in-depth analysis of character conventions that we recognize but know little about. Our book about my aunt will do the same. I would love your help to give Swankie's remarkable story the greatest reach possible. Thank you.